Chances are, if you're above average height, someone will have pointed it out at least once in your life. Now imagine facing the same comments every single day. We put together a list of 10 real-life giants, ranging from the tallest to the widest, who no doubt are more used to hearing "how's the weather up there" than the rest of us put together. With oversized hands, these giants may struggle with everyday tasks like using a computer. Luckily, you probably don't have that struggle, so make the most of your agile fingertips and press the subscribe button just before we start. Brock Brown. This teen from Michigan makes even your most difficult shoe shopping trip seem easy. With his size 28 feet, Brock Brown knows more than a little about struggling to find the perfect pair of shoes. At only 19 years old, Brock stands at 7 feet and 8 inches tall due to a condition called SOTOS syndrome, otherwise known as cerebral gigantism. It affects 1 in every 15,000 individuals. Along with being internationally known for his great size, Brock is also famous for owning the first pair of 3D printed shoes. It's a good thing he's discovered them though, because doctors aren't sure if he will ever stop growing, meaning he'll likely have to upgrade his shoes at some point soon. Brock reached the height of 5 foot 2 inches when he was in kindergarten and was only 5 years old when he was diagnosed with the condition. His mom says he easily grew 6 inches in a year. He was initially told that he wouldn't see the end of his teenage years, but has since been reassured that he should have a normal lifespan. Unsurprisingly, Brock does suffer some side effects from his condition, including chronic pain in his limbs, curvature of the spine, and a strain on his heart. He was also born with only 1 kidney. Yao Defen. Until recently, Yao Defen was the tallest woman in the world. At 7 feet and 8 inches tall, she towered above everyone else in her hometown in central China. Yao's gigantism developed due to a tumor growing on her pituitary gland. By the age of 15, she was just over 6 foot and 6 inches and continued to grow. Even when doctors removed the tumor, she kept growing, and then as a result went on to develop other health problems, including a blood clot on her brain. She had hoped to play basketball professionally and obviously knew her height would be a huge advantage. Sadly, the sport put too much pressure on her lungs and heart. Instead, she joined the circus, but quit after even the circus owner taunted her for her massive frame. At her healthiest point, she weighed around 440 pounds and wore size 26 shoes. In 2006, Yao finally stopped growing before the tumor grew back. This time, her family couldn't afford more surgery. As the years went by, Yao grew ill from a host of health conditions. Doctors think she may still have been growing, but at this point, she wasn't well enough to measure. In November 2012, at the age of only 39, Yao passed away from an unknown cause. Hafthor Julius Bjornsson. He may not be the tallest man in the world, but Hafthor Julius Bjornsson, nicknamed Thor, is definitely the strongest. At 6 foot 9 inches, he's certainly up there in height. But the former basketball player is really known worldwide for his powerlifting. At 19 years old, he suffered a leg injury and decided to branch out from basketball. While training at his local gym in Iceland, he got to chatting with fellow strongman Magnus Ver Magnusson, who suggested Hafthor might be a good fit for competing too. Magnusson was clearly right. Hafthor went on to win Iceland's Strongest Man in 2011 and 2012, and broke a 1,000-year record in 2015. To do this, he carried a 1,400-pound 30-foot log for 5 steps, which secured him as the winner of Norway's World's Strongest Viking competition. The last guy to attempt this, Iceland's Orm Storolfsson, reportedly broke his back in the process. With impressive records of 550-pound squats, 500-pound bench press, and a 925-pound deadlift, Hafthor would definitely be the sort of man you'd expect to see lifting cars and saving the day in superhero movies. Clearly, we're not the only ones to think he'd be a great film star. He's recently taken on the role of the Mountain, Sir Gregor Clegane, in HBO's Game of Thrones. Ulyana Semjonova. If you've ever wondered about the history of women's footwear in basketball games, Ulyana is the lady to speak to. The Latvian player, who stands at 7 feet and 1 inch tall, wore size 21 shoes before she retired in the 1980s. This is thought to be the biggest in the world of any female basketball player. She was also known for being a dominant player and with shoes that could quite possibly crush her entire opponent. Who wouldn't be? Born in 1952, Ulyana was the leading women's basketball player in the world. during her competitive years in the 1970s and 80s. She won 15 championships in the Soviet Union and another 15 in the European Champions Cup. In 1976, she was awarded the Order of the Red Banner of Labor, which honors great deeds and services completed by individuals in the Soviet state. She won 2 Olympic gold medals while playing for the USSR and never lost a game she played in official international competition. Ulyana was loved by her country and was named their most popular athlete for 12 years running. For the first 4 years after she professionally retired from basketball, ADIDAS still sent her specially made oversized shoes as a gesture of kindness. Sajjad Karibi. He's been dubbed the Iranian Hulk by his 271,000 Instagram followers, and after looking at Sajjad Karibi, it's not hard to see why. The 25-year-old weightlifter's huge mass puts him at just over 340 pounds, and he can lift even more than that, 385 pounds. When he's not competing internationally, Sajjad likes to amuse his social media followers with photos of himself next to small objects. So far, these have included an energy drink can and a normal-sized friend. The photos also answer important questions that we've all no doubt been wondering. Sajjad can, in fact, cross his arms, despite their size, and he can also drive a standard car, but only just. His friends say that despite other nicknames like Persian Hercules, Sajjad is very friendly and has a big heart. We're not sure if they mean metaphorically or physically, but we're gonna guess both. At his young age, Sajjad has his hopes set on a career in the WWE, or is also considering becoming a soldier. He'd definitely scare us away, that's for sure. He's not quite the biggest man in the world yet, but it's definitely looking likely in a few years to come. Romario dos Santos Alves. This bodybuilder is proof that it is possible to take lifting too far. Romario dos Santos Alves nearly had to have both of his arms amputated because of his gains. Modeling his body on the Incredible Hulk, Romario injected oil and alcohol into his arms to become a real-life version of his favorite monster. The synthetic filler, called synthol, is incredibly dangerous and nearly cost the former bodyguard his sanity. Hailing from Caldas Novas in Brazil, Romario claimed his huge body terrified young children who would call him a beast and a monster. His story isn't as positive as our previous giants. He grew to his size after becoming obsessed by the big guys in the gym. They introduced him to a chemical when he was asked how they grew their muscles to such size, and he became addicted. He knew he'd taken it too far when a doctor warned him that they may need to have both of his arms removed because their mass had turned into rock. It was this that made him come forward to the public in an effort to stop others making the same mistake. Luckily, Romario has been able to keep all of his limbs attached, and a lot of his mass remains. At his peak, his biceps were 25 inches wide. Shaquille O'Neal. Probably the most well-known giant to grace our list, Shaquille O'Neal is known all around the world for basketball and rapping. A strange combination, you may think, but Shaquille, at 6 foot 9 inches, is proof that not all giants specialize in sport and sport alone. Shaquille started his basketball career at Louisiana State University and quickly became one of the best centers in the league. He went on to play for 4 years with Orlando Magic and then signed with the Los Angeles Lakers. In total, he had a 19-year career with the NBA and won many MVP awards. He is the 7th best scoring player of all time and the 5th best for field goals. Shaquille wears a shoe size of 23 and uses his statuesque figure to his advantage in the game. Throughout his career, he broke 2 steel backboard supports, thanks to his powerful dunks, which forced the league to strengthen their equipment for the next season. It's thought that his height was the cause for many opposing teams to change their attack and defense on the courts. Other than basketball, Shaquille has had many TV appearances. Once he appeared on the Discovery Channel's Motorcycle Mania 2, where he requested a specially made bike to fit his huge body. Vikas Uppal. Although he's certainly very tall, no one was truly sure how tall Vikas Uppal was at his peak. It's thought to be somewhere between 8 foot and 8 foot 9 inches, but he was never formally measured by the Guinness World Records, and so was not entered for the world's tallest man. Vikas grew up in India and was said to be the country's biggest man, which we'd still consider to be a gigantic achievement. He differs from many giants in that he is completely proportional. Attached to his huge body were 13-inch long hands and 19-inch long feet. Who needs flippers for snorkeling when you can just use your own toes instead? Born in 1986, he was only in his early 20s when he passed away from a failed brain tumor operation. Aside from becoming nationally famous for his height, Vikas also acted in the Bollywood film Rang de Basanti. Between 2004 and 2005, he was measured twice and seemed to supposedly grow from 8 foot 3 inches to 8 foot 9. To this day, we're still unsure if he had a random growth spurt or if someone just has a very unreliable tape measure. Unfortunately, it looks like we'll never know. Alicia J. Popular fashion blogger Alicia J is proof that tall girls can have it all. At 6 feet 6 inches, Alicia is far taller than the average woman anywhere in the world, but she's used this to her advantage and also runs a clothing store specifically for taller women. Unlike many of the giants in our video, Alicia's great height isn't caused by a medical issue and just seems to be the result of genetics. Despite getting bullied when she was younger, Alicia found confidence attending college where she discovered other tall girls. Making friends like this showed her that tall is still beautiful. An interesting fact about Alicia is that she was not naturally a good basketball player, although not through lack of trying. On her blog, Tall Swag, Alicia talks about how she did go on to achieve a full basketball scholarship at the University of the Pacific, but she had to practice day and night to be able to do so. Recently, she's taken to modeling and uses her platform to encourage other tall girls to embrace their height rather than be ashamed of it. Frequently seen in 6-inch heels, it's obvious that Alicia is the poster girl to encourage positivity all around. Rümeysa Gelci. Back in 2014, Rümeysa Gelci was given the title of tallest teenager in the world. The Turkish 20-year-old is just over 7 feet tall and experienced accelerated growth when she was younger due to a genetic condition called Weaver syndrome. Although she has high aspirations for her future, the teen has struggled to continue her education due to her condition, which makes her tired even after completing simple tasks. However, Rümeysa is another tall, yet positive woman. She was thrilled when the Guinness World Record gave her the official award when she was only 17. In addition to her oversized limbs, Rümeysa's hands are nearly 10 inches long and she wears size 12 shoes. She's proud to be so tall and now considers herself special, but she has said previously that she wouldn't want to grow any taller. Luckily, doctors think her accelerated growth has stopped now. Currently, Rümeysa studies in her hometown in Turkey, but long-term she hopes to study at a technology college. She has already taken the entrance exams and is feeling positive. For the meantime, Rümeysa is happy with the attention that being tall has given her and considers any cruel comments to be nothing but ignorance. Whether you're short or tall, we bet this video made you appreciate your height more than usual. We hope you enjoyed watching, and make sure to subscribe to The Hub for more interesting videos. Thanks!